Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Max. I want to welcome you to the live stream today. As I've just seen, the camera is probably a little bit too light, but I wasn't able to fix it before. Give me a shout if it's okay. Anyway, we will cover today a little bit of weird seeing me here, and also anyway, what we'll cover today is we will start properly. The last episode 0, was kind of like starting with live streaming, finding out how things work, etc. So I thought it's a good idea to give you a little bit of information about me. Give me a shout once audio isn't working, you can't see my screen or something like that. Use the chat, and I'm happy to respond to it every time when I'm relaxed enough to coordinate my coding, my screen sharing, etc. So bear with me if I'm not responding within a couple of seconds. So live YouTube scene, you hopefully see my browser now. I will give you just a couple of information about me. As I've seen, we have already a couple of guys live. If you wanna just give me an idea where you're from, type your country into the chat, so we can probably align with the times the next times, and find out what's the best for you and for me. Let me just go through my history a little bit. First of all, I haven't studied at all. I did an apprenticeship as a software developer in a bank in Munich in 2009. Started with Java, did a little bit of Java development for 4 years, and switched over to SAP BW consulting in also 2 companies in Munich before I switched over to SAP. We've also done BW consulting for 2.5 years before I switched over to my awesome team now. To give you an idea where I'm located, right now I'm sitting in one of the SAP offices in Bjørvik, which is close to Munich and also super close to the airport in Munich. If we scroll out, you'll see it's in the south of Germany. Hello, I'm from Manchester, industrial. I think I'm not allowed to joke around with Brexit, so we skipped that part. Good morning, DJ. Yeah, as I said, I'm from the south of Germany, sitting in one of the SAP offices, also living in Munich, and that's a little bit about me. I'm 27 years old, by the way. And to get warm or started, I thought it's a good idea to share a couple of blog posts to give you an exercise for the week, or if you're interested in a couple of things. So I've bookmarked 4 links. The first one is one of my colleagues, Witalij. He's based in Poland. He wrote about what he's going to learn, or he wants to learn in 2020, the next year. And Witalij, if you're following him on Twitter or not, let me just give you his Twitter handle, which is super hard to pronounce. Where is my friend Witalij? So if you aren't following him yet, follow him on Twitter. He's giving really good information about all things around HANA, data intelligence, data hub. And that's his plan for 2022, double down on that with data engineering, with multi-model databases around, or open source databases, data visualization, programming languages, at all. And he's also happy to hear if you have anything to recommend. The second one, as I'm live streaming right now, good morning, Ivona, good morning, Ada. So, Ronnie, the SAP champion, wrote about how to stream, which is pretty cool and really detailed on how to get started, which software you need, which hardware you need, things to care about, if it's in landscape mode or in portrait mode. The software I'm also using with the Open Broadcaster software, and a little bit about his experience for live streaming for the SAP Inside Track in Oslo. Another one which I read this morning is Nabheet, apparently also an SAP champion, based in India, in Chandigarh, I guess. He was trying out the robotic process automation, and also gave you a little bit of insights on how he got started. That this Open SAP course was really helpful to him, and also a little video of what he's describing in his blog post. Thanks, Nabheet. Really, really cool stuff. And last but not least, a little bit older already, written in December by Martin Pankratz, with really cool stuff about how he wrote an application in the Web IDE for Cloud Foundry and uses Azure DevOps to do CI/CD with all that stuff. And all of that really detailed, and most likely we will also cover one of these things in the upcoming live stream. All right, so it's 10 after 9. I think we are good to go. Just a little bit of recommendations. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so. And what I've also done is I've already scheduled, where is it? Give me a second. I've already scheduled the next one, which you can set your reminder already. Upcoming one, you on YouTube. And if you want to set your reminder to get notified once it starts, just hit remind me. Okay, I think we're good to go. What we've done in the last live stream episode is we got started with setting up a CAP Java application. And what I will do now is just to do that once again, but in a nutshell, and rush through it to follow up where we've left off last time. So we will bring up another terminal window. Terminal is the future. And also, please give me a shout once the camera turns off, because I wasn't able to connect it or to charge it while I'm streaming. So that will eventually turn off, but we'll switch over to my FaceTime camera. So, let me just bump up the font and go to one of my live stream folders. I hope. Cool, I'm back. Thank you, DJ. So what we've done, we've created with Maven a new project. With the archetype group comes up CDS plus the artifact ID CDS services archetype, and we'll give it a name Max, which is my name. The artifact ID is a bookshop. The version snapshot is fine. The package is also fine, and let's just create the project. We can see your video, but no screen share. That's unfortunate. Okay, I'm back in a second. Also give me a notification if you can see me, hear me, plus see my screen. Okay. That's weird because I'm not able to see my screen on the YouTube channel, but anyway. What I've just done, ooh, that was too fast. I've created a new project skeleton once again, provided a name plus an artifact ID, and all of that got created automatically by Maven for me. So, and here we go, we have a new folder called Bookshop. Let me open that in Visual Studio Code. And okay, that wasn't intended. So we have the whole project now in Visual Studio Code. And what we've done last time is simply we've provided a data model CDS. And let me bump that up. And what we've also had was a service CDS. More or less like that. If you have no idea what I'm doing, do us or me and you a favor, have a look at the replay from last episode 0. Don't wanna do too much today, what we've done last time. So, and what should happen now if we start all of that with Maven? Let me just bring up the chat here. I'm able to follow what you're saying. Screen is not visible. Okay now. Perfect. So Spring Boot run will start my application and will serve me a little bit of OData. Hopefully, to be honest. I'm confused by all these OBS and streaming stuff now. Sweaty hands. Okay, my application is running, and let's bring up a new browser window on the screen. Localhost 8080, and here is my project. Imagine once again, we haven't written too much code yet. It's just a little bit of CDS, and we get a running web server with functional OData metadata. And if we try or give it a try, we should not get any data because we don't have any data yet. But what we could do is we could have a look at full-blown OData metadata with all the entities I've just rushed through in my CDS definitions. So for example, authors, books, countries, which I haven't defined, which is coming implicitly from CAP, orders, and all of that with wonderful OData metadata. So, but we want to have a little bit of data, at least, to get it a little bit more interesting. So let's switch to the DB folder and create a new data directory, which also appears right now here. And this is the place where we put our CSV files to get a little bit of test data. And CAP knows by default, hey, if there's a folder below DB, which is called data or CSV, please pull that data and place it in my database. And funny enough, because I haven't shown it yet, we have already a database which is implicitly spinned up by cap and shut down whenever we start or shut down the application. Let me just give you a little bit of idea how that looks like. In my source folder, main resources, there's my application YAML with the properties, all in wonderful YAML. Cap or Spring Boot, the technique of this whole application. That's weird. I just wanted to check the comments, but somehow the monitors are now linked and so the database is initialized whenever I start my application, is thrown away whenever I stop it, and all of that with wonderful lightweight SQLite locally. So I do have some sample data somewhere in GitHub repositories. That's sample data for books, that's fine. And I somehow have authors, CSV. That's fine, we should see that now here. We have authors with the columns ID and name, and the CSV file for books, which corresponds to my data model. So my authors, for example, do have ID and name, and the books, for example, let me go back to that, has ID, title, author ID, and stock. ID, title, author ID, and stock. And because of the association here, you can navigate from authors to books and the other way around. So we don't want to throw away the data whenever we stop the application. We want to have it persistent. So what I just do is use the CDS command line tool and deploy all of that to a database. So if I do a CDS deploy, I'm in the wrong folder. Let's just go back to my root folder, the bookshop, and do a CDS deploy. So my whole data model is now generated, or the runtime artifacts, as in my schema SQL, plus the data from the CSV files is pushed to the application. And that's actually just, as SQLite is super lightweight and file-based, a file in my root directory. To have a look at that manually without the application itself, there is a extension by Visual Studio Code. So if you just look for SQLite, there's an extension Explore and Query SQLite Databases by Alex ZV which is super cool and easy to use. So if you do a right click on that and open database, you will get a SQLite Explorer. And you could also right now, for example, query table data. So that's exactly the data we've brought in via the CSV files. So let me just double check the comments. There's no comment right now. I'm super curious how I can unlink my things here. All right. So what I've just said, we want to have the data persistent in my database or in the application, and use that database instead of my in-memory thingy. So what I do is we copy the path to this database, copy the path, and place it here. And as there is already data, we don't need to initialize it. So that's just never. And if we run it again, let's just try it. I know that it's still running. We will get, or we will run into issues definitely, because the port is still occupied by the application in my other terminal, I guess. Yes, it's failing. Port 8080 was still in use. If we hopefully have my key binding still working, yeah. So Command Shift key K is jumping from one terminal window to the other one, and run it once again. String boot run. So, meanwhile, that is starting. Screen is not visible again. It's all going fine. Great rocks of power. Thank you, DJ. If you haven't watched DJ's live stream, in the meantime, while my server is starting, there's bit.ly. Let me bring that up down here. Bit.ly. Hands-on SAP Dev. We have all information about his live stream with all sorts of CAP, Node.js, business rules, workflow, Cloud Foundry, a little bit of mechanical keyboards, IPAs, all kind of stuff. So highly recommended live stream. Also every single Friday. All right, let me just jump back. My server is started, and if we have a look at the books again, now all the data I've just put in my SQLite database is here. That's cool that we are able to use SQLite databases, but what I wanted to show you is also how to use a HANA database while running app application locally and not in the cloud platform, which is easier to use, which is easier to restart, etc., than always pushing it to cloud platform. Where are we? So let's just stop my server. And let me just log out of cloud platform. We could say that CDS shouldn't deploy to SQLite, which is the default one, but I want to deploy it to HANA. So CDS command line tool is now trying to deploy it and is, on purpose in this case, failing to do that because I'm not logged into my cloud platform account. So CDS command line tool is implicitly using Cloud Foundry command line tool, CF, to connect to my cloud platform account and create the HANA database, or in this case, it's just a HDI container in a shared HANA database for me. So let me just log in. And let me connect to my trial account. Every now and then I should double check if I'm still live. I'm a little bit worried that I crash once again. Am I logged in now? Yes, I'm logged in now. Perfect. All right. And if we try that all again to HANA, CDS is now able to create that HDI container on behalf of my CDS command line tool, and that could take a couple of seconds. Meanwhile, I'll take a little bit of tea. So it's creating the service instance in SAP Cloud Platform and will generate me somehow here a file with all the properties to that service. So CAP knows how to connect to the HDI container plus all the credentials, etc. Already half an hour. It's crazy how fast time goes by. Alright, there are no bound apps for the service. Upgrades are not supported by the broker. Sounds good. It's creating the service key. And as I promised, I do have a new file in here, which nobody should use, hopefully, because it's my HDI credentials. So I'm not going to show everything, but I've already shown most of that. But anyway, that's all in the information CAP knows or needs to know in order to connect a local CAP application to a HDI container running in my cloud platform. And as you've seen it probably in a couple of seconds, it's pushing all the runtime artifacts. So out of my CDS file, it's generating HTTP CDS files, plus somewhere should be my CSV files. I have no idea where they are. Here, HTTP table data, and we should now be able to use a HANA database connected to my local CAP application. So, therefore, we need to know, once I start Spring Boot run, it's taken a so-called Spring profile, and by default, it's the default one. Funny enough. So it's by default connecting to that database, and to get around that, we are using not a profile. Could be a cloud one here. I'm just using a cloud one, and then it's going around the default the default profile, and should connect to my HANA database. Just have a look if that works. Okay, that doesn't work. What am I missing? Yeah. What I forgot is we do need a library for that. So we have our dependencies for my service and the POM XML, and we have one for SQLite, but we need another one for HANA. Yes, index plus we do all of that once again, and now CAP should be able to connect to a HANA database. What I was doing in the meantime, look if I'm still live. I'm still live. Perfect. So it's successfully started, but we don't really know, is it connected to a SQLite database, is it to a HANA database connected? And there's a little bit of information in the startup. Loaded default env.json from directory, and bean definition for connected service HDI container. That works. Let's just have a look at the application itself if it works. Go back to localhost 8080 and have a look at the books. Perfectly fine. We have our local CAP application written with Java and Spring Boot connected to a HANA database in SAP Cloud Platform. Okay, so we spent half an hour splitting up the application once again, what we've done in the last episode. What I've promised to do today is that we write a little bit of Java custom logic codes. So to give you a heads up, right now, CAP is delivering so-called OData operations by default, full-fledged. So we have, well, let me just try it out with query options, etc. We can query a single book, etc. All by default with create, read, update, delete, and query functionality. So, but that's most of the time not enough with just sticking to the default operations. What we want to do is probably before CAP is acting or after CAP with its OData operation is acting, we want to hook in and write a little bit of custom logic. Therefore, what I thought of is we adjust a little bit our data model and make it a little bit more sophisticated. So my data model, oops, that was not on purpose. So we have some orders. Let me just copy that over. Played with that a little bit yesterday to come up with an idea for our live stream today, and I'll explain it in a second what happens. So let me just go back. So we have books for book, obviously, with the title and author. We have authors who are writing those books, and somehow customer probably should be able to order those books. So I've just copied over a snippet from a project I've done yesterday and explained it in a nutshell. So we have an entity order which shouldn't be updatable. So you can insert, you can delete, and you can read plus query those orders, but you can't update them. Additionally, we have order items as part of those orders. So one order could have many order items, and they are linked by composition. So a order item couldn't live without a order, and as far as I know, the other way around. So there's no order without order items. And let's do that as simple as possible. Well, let's stick to that. And have some compilations errors. So no artifact has been found with the name CUID, which are coming from, hopefully that works, the common CDS. That doesn't work, unfortunately. I have no idea why. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. We add that as a I forgot the name. What is CUID? Let me just have a look in modules, SAP CDS, and the common CDS. And the CUID is a abstract entity. Oh, an aspect. Sorry. All right. So we have also a currency. I have no idea why we need that. And let's just stick to that. So compilations errors are gone, and let me try to deploy that to the database. And perfectly fine. We are now going just to use the SQLite database because it's a little bit faster to deploy, etc. And we should hopefully have now also additionally some tables for order items and orders. All right. What I should be able now, if we start my application, in the meantime, checking comments. Somebody knows a good joke that these people know what to read only. Yeah, yeah. As DJ pointed out in the comments, pretty good. There's also the capability, the possibility to have these shortcuts. I think they're called shortcut annotations, which are read only, and the compiler compiles it to, for example, then to. Oop. Was too much. Capabilities updatable false plus insertable false. What else are we deletable false? But we want to have it as granular as possible. We are not using it today, to be honest. Updatable wouldn't be possible with read only because it's just a subset of all these combinations. Thank you, DJ, for that hint. So we have the application running. Let's go to my starting page and let's see. Yes, we have orders without any data yet. Method not allowed because it's not readable. That's funny cause why is that? As my source CDS says it's insert only. Let's remove that. And run it again. And we are now trying, what I'm trying to do is now create some orders and use the default operations plus, let's see how far we get. Writing custom logic because, for example, when I order a book, the stock in my data model or in my table from books should decrease accordingly. Or, for example, I could order a book which is not existent in my database. So those things we are trying to implement in the custom logic then. So I should now be able to read that orders. That's perfectly fine. And let's just use curl as a tool to send some requests to my server and create some orders. So as I'm not a curl pro, I've played around with that yesterday. So we have a post request to create orders. It's in the format of application JSON, and let's just check how the format should be. So I have the currency code in here, total we don't need, and I have some items corresponding to my order items down here. All of that with a book ID and an amount, and in the most sophisticated scenario, the net amount would calculate itself from the price of the book, but we don't have it yet. We will cover that at a later point in time. So once I send this request, hopefully there should be some records in my database afterwards. And that looks like that was successful. Let's just check that out in the browser. If there are orders, that's perfectly fine. So there's at least now a order record. And we could also, because of my decomposition, be able to expand the items and have a look at what the items of my orders are. So as I said, I've ordered the book 427 with one amount. Net amount wasn't given by me. So that's something we could implement at a further later point in time. All right, so okay, first thing we're gonna do is what I could also do is we don't order a book with ID, or we ordered a book with 4711, which is, in fact, let me just try that other ways. We are looking for a book with the ID 4711. And let's see. Ooh, we don't have any book with 4711. But right now, I'm able to create a order for book 4711. Perfectly fine, because CAP doesn't really know what's happening. And to be honest, was also my fault with a bad definition here, but let's just stick to that to showcase how CAP Java actually works. All right, so what we do is we go to my actual package and create a class for was it a folder or a file which I just created? Let's check. You have a catalog service handler. Oh, perfectly fine, that works. So I have class buddy, which fine, no comments, implements event handler coming from sub CDS. Right, so that's one of the prerequisites we need. Also, what we need is this class should automatically be registered in my application context for Spring Boot, so that CAP and its implementation knows, okay, here is probably a class which should be interesting for you. And to say which Java class corresponds to which CDS service, we need to know or give it what was the annotation? It's service name, and catalog service, I think the class is what, like that. So CAP itself generates me classes and interfaces which I could reference, and I think it was that one. Wasn't it that one? CDS name. Yeah. So, and since I haven't imported the class yet, Command Shift O in Visual Studio Code will most likely import all the things for you, or not. Happens here. Cannot be resolved. Well, go to definition. There's the interface. There's the CDS name. If it doesn't work like that right now, then we just do it in the old-fashioned manner and write it yourself. Service name. We also need the annotation imported. Somebody would say that's verbose, but that's Java. So we have somehow connected the class now to my service, and Cap knows that this is an event handler. And what we want to do is, before we create a order, so before, what was that? CDS service. I don't know what's happening here with my imports. I have no idea why my Visual Studio Code somehow is a little bit confused what I'm doing. Let me just open that once again. Likely it works then. Ooh. Analog service. Before. Just check if so we have a pop-up method with validate order. That's fine, and we usually get a list of orders. Which one it is? It's always confusing. Let's take that one. Right, quick fix for that. As okay, works now. Perfect. So I want to act or hook in before a order is created. So we need the event create. Plus we need to know which entity it actually is, and that's in this case catalog service dot orders. All right. So we should be perfectly fine. Let me just double check that with a system out println, or we could also do orders. What do we do is size of orders, to just know if that works, and we are getting to a point here. Orders size, that's fine. And we start all of that once again from scratch. I have to check the in the meantime, while this is starting, I'm posting a couple of those blog posts in links in the chat. Okay, first link is posted. So my server started, and what we should get now, only 10 more minutes. That's driving me crazy. I'm too slow somehow. We bring up a new terminal, and if we create now a, where is my post request? If we create now a order, we should hopefully get somehow in the server output size of orders, a message that this method is actually working. So the order was created. Let's just have a look. if I get an output here, size of orders, perfect. We only have one order. All right, so what we are trying to do is for every single order we get, I'm just used once again. That's the wrong orders, I guess. Yes, interface. If you get rid of that, quick fix that. That's bookshop, and go to that. That's CDS data. Perfect. All right. That's one single order, and we want to process every single order. For that, am I still live? I'm not sure if my streaming tool again was kind of strange. Would be perfect if somebody gives me a comment. Otherwise, we will just go on. Okay, what we need to do is a couple of things. First of all, we want to know which book actually is ordered, and that's part of the order item. So we get one order and say I want to have the get order item. What am I doing here? Keep check. All good, perfect. Cool, thank you. So my order doesn't offer me to list of orders. If we have a look at this one, modified and currency code, set items. Why don't I get my order? Oh, get items. Oh, I'm too confused. So get items. And as right now we only have one item, let's just validate order item and create a new method for that. Private one, validate order item. So order get items, perfect. Syntax error. Where are we? Come on. All right, so the item for each item, it's items. We are trying to access the ID of the book, and let's just check if that's available. Not the ID of the item. I actually want to have the book ID, and that's an integer. It's 8 minutes left. Perfect. Book ID. And now we want to query the table of my books entity. So what we are trying to do is we use the CDS query language, CDSQL, to build a select statement and let cap handle all the things below. So it's we want to select from a CDS entity. Ooh, what was that? Select from. It's the books entity. Let me just double check one thing over here. Class, perfect, and filter on where no, I just want to have a couple of columns, and for every single book I want to have the stock. Where was it? Where? How do I construct it once again? Nope. Where? You should really get used to the query language. It takes a little bit, but once you get used to it, it's pretty convenient. And I'm not used to it yet. So where the book? The ID equals my book ID. That's all right. That looks good. And what we should get from that is a sequence select. That's fine. That all looks a little bit strange, and let's import this one. Perfect. So that should be a select statement. Now the only thing we need to do is to give it to the database. And let's just do all we need for that is to at least get my persistence somehow. What was it called? It's the persistence service, I think. Exactly. We call it DB. Perfect. So DB, take my at least my sequence select, and take the first book. We keep it easy as possible now, but the upper one, and if there's nothing there, we definitely want to throw a exception, and therefore there is service exception or something like that by 4 minutes. Let me cheat and give me a second, then I'll have a look how you throw a exception in my project from yesterday. Yeah, we wanna throw a exception with that's, where are we? So that's fine. Okay, let me explain that. 3 minutes. We select books, and we want to get the stock value from the books entity, where the ID of the book entity equals the book ID of my order, and run that select statement against the books entity. If there's nothing found, please throw an exception with book does not exist. What we could also do is we should get the book actually. import books. That's now the problem kind of fix. What am I doing wrong? Damn it. Then we could also access the book and, for example, test if there's enough stock later on. All right, because that took a lot of time, we just run the application once again. And let's see how that works. Actually, I wanted to cover so many other things today. With deploying the whole application also to Cloud Platform while my server is setting up. Let's just check if there's something. That's all good. It's none. That time goes faster. And my camera, I think, was turned off because it was moving. All right. So but I think we are fine without a camera. Let me go back to my new terminal, and let's just order once again a book which is not available in our master data. So curl, we order again book 4711. We shouldn't have one. If we send that, book does not exist. And what I could also show you is just in a nutshell, because well, printing all these things to the command line, etc., isn't really convenient. We try to debug all of that in Visual Studio Code, which is pretty cool. So let me go to Command T brings up the possibility to search for classes and artifacts. So I have somewhere my application, which is my main class to start up my Spring Boot application. And I've set a breakpoint there. And let's debug all of that. Take care that everything before is compiled with all these CDS artifacts, with schema things. And once I do a debug here, everything should already be compiled. So seems like my server has started. And let's send the request once again. And what should be the case that I am stopping at my coding here. We do again a whoop, not uppercase. So and send that request. And as you see, I'm here right now and can also inspect the variables, do a step in, step over, etc. Blah blah. And let's just stop here once again. No, what's going on? Yeah. For example, the whole select statement, and could see what columns I'm querying, the where conditions, etc. With that, because I'm already 1 minute over my expected time, I'd like to thank you once again for your patience, because it didn't went that well as I expected. Max will publish each week's code somewhere GitHub. I'm trying to do as much as possible. Let me just bring up once again my OBS in life. Well, yeah, that's my FaceTime camera. Marcus, well, the next live stream will be mid of February because I'm in Silicon Valley for an internal developer kickoff for SAP developers, internal SAP developers, a little bit in vacation. But then I'm trying to do as much as possible. Live publishing all these things is right now, process-wise, internally a little bit hard. But I hope at least the video recordings are helpful at some point in time. But whenever you have questions, I think we've already been in contact via Twitter. Whenever you have questions, let me know. What I will do is definitely what's on my plan with priority is to create a tutorial on developers.sap.com with the stuff I've done in the last episode and today. and that's hopefully at least a good starting point. Plus the CAP team itself knows that there is room for improvement. With that, thanks for joining. Set yourself a reminder for the next occurrence of this live stream, and with that, have a good day, have a good week. It's already Thursday, it's just one day left. There's the camera not there anymore. All right, take care, guys.